Good afternoon. My name is Aarti Radish, a fifth-year architecture student from Manipal Academy of Higher Education, Dubai. Today, I would be talking about the research paper, Redefining the Significance of Community Spaces in the Neighborhood, a comparative study of Karama and Satwa neighborhood in the context of Dubai. The research paper has been based on the planning principles followed in Dubai city. Vertical mega exaggerated developments have led to losing the cultural and traditional norms of the neighborhood communities, and thus has further led to unresponsive climate and environmental condition, lack of human-centric design. As trade and commerce prospered, employment opportunities rose and expatriate population increased. The aim of the research is to explore how community spaces should be redefined in the neighborhood areas of Karama and Satwa at Dubai context. The topics that have been covered are urban development, typology, planning, stakeholders, and character. Some of the key issues identified are planning principles followed in Dubai city, vertical and mega exaggerated development, unresponsive climate and environmental condition, rise in expatriate population, demand for housing has been increased, housing became a significant issue, creation of densely packed neighborhood districts, lack of affordable housing and facilities, impact on the planning and cultural norms. The image gives us a clear picture about the residential housing and the national housing spread across the Dubai city. As indicated, two neighborhood districts, Satwa and Karama, would be further taken up as a research study. Sustainable planning helps in improving the community, creating a healthier environment for citizens, and in turn creates a platform for social interaction. Compact architectural typology in a sustainable planning allows to work with better zoning, serves to diverse class of population, introducing housing hierarchy, affordable housing facility. The figure shows planning evolution from a densely packed to an offshore island community, reflecting sustainability in planning. Due to rapid urbanization, loss of open spaces, weakening of social coherence, inattention to long-term sustainability, high-end community developments are given more focus than redevelopment of the densely packed older neighborhoods. This has greatly affected the socio-economic factor of the city, like quality of life, sense of security, and proximity to transportation. The figure shows the different housing patterns observed in Dubai city. As a part of the Dubai Sustainable Initiative, three urban strategies have been proposed: transferability, compactness, and physical inciting environment, where it promotes people to move from place to place without any obstacles at a shorter distance. Demand-oriented planning can be seen in Dubai's housing policy, where most of the densely populated neighborhoods are overshadowed by cultural business district. It puts a pressure on the availability of affordable housing, hence people tend to move towards the outskirts of the city. Climate plays an integral part of planning. Low-rise to mid-rise structure allow controlled planning with flexible spaces. Urban morphology has evolved as dense organic fabric are short, irregular streets, buildings close to one another. A comparative study between two older neighborhood communities gives us insights about the strength and weakness of the neighborhood district. Satwa is a neighborhood district along the Sheikh Zayed Road which face a dramatic loss of neighborhood's old fabric, where local communities have moved out and settlement of expatriates due to the rise in population. Demography mainly observed are Filipinos and Asian expats. The region has a good mobility network. Due to gentrification process, there is a dramatic loss of neighborhood's old fabric. The image shows the spatial evolution of the traditional housing neighborhood patterns that have been followed, the different building footprints integrated with courtyard spaces. The plan view gives us an idea about the grid pattern followed in Satwa and how it's well integrated along the Sheikh Zayed Road edge. The Karama is one of the oldest residential districts that have been divided into 4 zones with effective connectivity, recreation, and community facilities at the center. Active frontages are converted to public spaces over the evening. It has a saturated grid planning system limiting for future expansion. The region lacks open spaces and relies the regional Zabil Park. South Asian expats are mainly a part of the demography at Karama. Parking lots are adaptable spaces for different typology. The architectural morphology lacked distinctive character, and apartment sharing has exploited the charm of the region. The image shows the grid planning in the existing urban fabric of Karama. The second image gives us an idea about how planning has affected the urban morphology and imageability. The third image is a street view of Karama showing the disproportion of the urban morphology. During the pandemic, there has been immense pressure on the communities to follow social distancing norms, improving hygiene habits and meeting the emerging needs. Neighborhoods have a chance to redesign the streets to meet the needs of the inhabitants. Spaces for drop-off and deliveries also need to be considered as a part of the design. Balconies and porches are actively used for interaction. Due to the reduction of public transportation usage, individual micro-mobility units have changed the commuting pattern throughout the city. Climatic conditions have improved due to the low level of pollution. Demand for open and green spaces have increased. Smart city approach has helped in minimizing human interaction. The image above shows the different characters identified in the neighborhood where we see uninteresting store frontages, less shading elements in the open spaces, narrow pedestrian pathways, underutilized plots, lack of viable public realm. Based on the famous saying, we design buildings and thereafter they mold us, this brings a huge reflection on the urban setting of buildings and its surroundings. Introduction of green spaces, human-centric design, and climatic responsive architecture will develop a sense of community, improve living standards, and betterment of human well-being. Post-pandemic, cities need to adopt the role of technology and implementation of new infrastructure where small-scale planning needs to be given more focus on. Promotion of micro-mobility, walkability, and adaptive spaces will bring a flexibility to new and the existing urban fabric. Uniform distribution of interactive open spaces within the residential neighborhood would promote significance of community redevelopment in the context of Dubai. Based on the comparative study, proposal sketches have been developed for redesigning parking spaces integrated with communal facilities and promoting climatic responsive architecture. Introduction of green pavement will control fast-moving traffic and insertion of green pockets. Desired connectivity linked to the courtyard spaces for community interaction within each cluster. These are some of the references looked up for the research presented. I would like to thank my co-author and mentor, Assistant Professor Shagi S. Nair, for her constant guidance and support. I would also like to thank my parents for their constant support in doing the research paper.